All right, technology, don't play with me. If this doesn't work, my audio's not working, is it? No, it is. I see it. Okay. All right, we're good. Oh, boy. Shoddy news has killed any hope I had left. Not even a good fridge. See, Shoddy, how come I feel like the chat every day when I hop on is trying to tell me something that I didn't know happened? There's nothing official about Brian Schottenheimer, is there? But I subscribe to the Brian brought us theory at the moment. I'm not worrying about it. Look, Jerry and them aren't going to try their best. So I'm just going to worry about the crap I can worry about. And I'll talk bad about them a lot. I mean, I've already done it and I'll do it some more, but just not right now. You know, I'm going to do some draft stuff. I'll do a little draft stuff. Jerry cannot try his hardest as much as he wants. It's his business. We're going to go try to find some good, we're going to go try to find some good football players. We're going to go try to find some good football players. So the general idea here is to go through every single possible player they could pick at number 12 overall that wouldn't drive me nuts and why and who these guys are. And there's something that we need to keep in mind when we talk about these guys, because I keep getting yelled at when I'm the one who started something, and now people are yelling at me about it when I do something differently. I started blowing the trumpet for maybe the Cowboys' top need is CeeDee Lamb to have a friend. Maybe. That's the top need. Then I do a mock draft where I talk about other positions, and I get yelled at by people for not taking a wide receiver. And I'm like, chill out. There's other stuff that goes into it. You know? There's other stuff that goes into these things. You can't just force a position. We're not going to do that. And I just want to make sure that people realized that wide receiver was something that we needed to talk about. It doesn't mean that we have to pick one in the first round. It's just something that we need to talk about. And most of the really, really good ones go pretty early, but that doesn't mean we have to do that. Shout out to Formula, probably the number one seed of helping with the pool fund. We'll get this sucker paid off soon. 17 grand left, I think, and change. I want Ted McMillan so very bad. Ted McMillan would be wonderful, and he would fit really well too. Ted McMillan would be a great fit with CeeDee Lamb. But I want to show you something real quick. Let me see here. How do I share my screen? I want to share my screen. And I appreciate when people do stuff so I don't have to. So shout out to my friend Bob Sturm, who clearly knows how to color code things in Microsoft Excel, right? So, like, this is what we got for the Cowboys. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I'll just tell you. It's just the Cowboys roster with what's still under contract and what's not, right? Like at tight end, you have 4 guys that are under contract. All 4 safeties are under contract. Like those spots, you actually at least have people. Your offensive line, you could, in theory, go play. You have guys under contract. Running back, you got nothing. Wide receiver, you got 6 dudes under contract. So even though I am campaigning hard to find CeeDee Lamb a helper, you have gigantic needs other places where you can't even go play football right now. You can't go play football at linebacker right now. Well, I guess you could. It would be Maris Leofau, Damone Clark, and Buddy Johnson. And you could go play corner with Deron Bland, Kalen Carson, and Josh Butler. And you could go play D-tackle with Mozzie Smith and Justin Rogers. They can pick anything. We got to pick the best player. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Best guess on the Cowboys head coach. Kellen Moore still is my best guess. Still my best guess. It's choppy again, Captain Trade. It better not be. I reset the computer. It better not be. It may be choppy because I was sharing screen and stuff. I don't know. Draft Xavier Watson, Lathan Ransom. Well, we don't have to draft them. Plus, those are second and third round players, right? We got 4 safeties on the roster. We're going to be okay. But again, if that's the best player available, hell yeah, do it. Hell yeah, do it. Screw you, freak Jesus. Don't backtrack now. If we all decide to support a new franchise together, who would you pick? I've kind of like Tampa because of, oh, hell. Easy. So anyway, all I'm saying is that you could go anywhere in the world. So I'm prepared to go through every single person that the Dallas Cowboys could or should be willing to draft at number 12 overall. And Ashton Jeanty is on the list. I'm a running back hater, but Ashton Jeanty's on the list. I could draft Ashton Jeanty in the first round, no problem. I could actually go through these in order for you. Abdul Carter, Penn State. You don't get a chance at that. I'm careful these days to be way less of like, oh, you can't get that guy at that spot because you never know. Like, I don't care what someone else's mock says or someone else's rankings say. Like Dane's rankings will say somebody's the 12th best player in the draft. Pro Football Focuses will say he's 81st, but somebody's seen Dane, so I pick a guy in the second, and they're like, there's no chance he'll be available. I try and do that too much. You can't have Abdul Carter, but I would love him. My number one player in the draft. Number two player in the draft is Travis Hunter, Colorado. You can't have him. Number three player in the draft is Mason Graham, Michigan D tackle. I don't think you can have him. I don't think you can have him, but maybe not impossible. After that, I really don't know. And that's why I think it's fun to know all of the names, because I'm very confident there's no chance the Cowboys are going to have a chance to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. I would guess Mason Graham too. And after that, I think that's the end of the premier prospects. And so I don't know. It's going to be, what do people need and what do they want? And so I have no idea who is realistic or not to talk about going to the Cowboys at number 12. So we're just going to cover them all. That's what we're going to do. Thoughts on James Pierce Jr.? I really like him at 12. I don't like him at 12. I like him, but I don't like him at 12. That's the Tennessee pass rusher. Where do I have him? He's like my second guy in the second round. So he's probably like my 20 to 22nd best player, or 18 to 20 best player, something like that. He's a pass rusher, and we take pass rushers high. So it's not totally impossible. I know the new Stormlight Archive book came out. I'm almost done rereading book 4, and book 5 is sitting on my shelf waiting for me. You're going to pull out all your second round grades you take round 1, right? Not at 12. I better not have to pick a second round player at 12. How many first round grades do you have? Great question. Yeah, we can just pull up my board. Let's do a little share screen, and I'll leave it in the comments. I'll leave the, is my board updated? I think everybody's on there that I've watched. I'll just put it in the chat. Here it comes. Boop. Boop. Can't super chat, Jeff. Other people did. But I'm not tired of YouTube hating me. I shouldn't say that out loud because they probably don't hate me, and I don't want them to take away things from me. But yeah, that's my rankings. And then you can see on the far right, it says stack, and that's the order that I would pick the guys in. After the top 3, who I don't think you can have, I have Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle at Texas. And again, most drafts I feel like go deeper than 3, what you would consider premier badass prospects. I have this one going 3 players deep. Ashton Jeanty's different because he plays running back. So like Kelvin Banks is who I would pick 4th. He's my favorite offensive lineman in this group. He's a little bit shorter than the other 2 guys that I have as first round offensive tackles, but he's also, I think, the biggest badass of all of them when it comes to paving the way in the run game too. And if I drafted Kelvin Banks Jr., he could be my left tackle. And I could tell Tyler Guyton, you can compete at right tackle. And if I think you're better than Steele, I might post June 1 him. If not, we can try to find you a different position. I am not a big fan of, we just assume people are going to get better and that we're going to be fine. I want to win the Super Bowl next year. And so I don't want to line up in week 1 with Tyler Guyton at left tackle. That's where I am. So if he wants to win a job somewhere else, that's cool. But I'm not going to build it and just assume that a guy who is awful as a rookie is going to be good as a second-year player. That's what they did with Mozzie, and they admitted that was a mistake. They thought a bunch of rookies were going to be able to help him, and they admitted that's a mistake. So I'm not trying to do that. If Kelvin Banks Jr. is on the board, he's my 4th player, so I'd take him. No problem. And now I have to come to my definitive Ashton Jeanty answer. Would Jeff pick Ashton Jeanty at 12 for the Cowboys? The answer is yes. I would pick a running back at 12. Because the name of the game is adding the best players that you can. And I factored in the position. If I wasn't factoring in the position, he would be first on the players on this board. But I'm factoring in the position, and that's where I've settled that he is. He's the 5th guy that I would pick because I don't think that it is a draft full of premier players. I think everyone below him, even if they play a more important or more expensive position, I got questions about that stops them from existing in the same sphere as guys like Mason Graham, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. So I would take Jeanty 5th, which means When the Cowboys get on the clock, Banks and Jeanty would be my favorite 2 picks. And they might both be available because, again, it's a weird draft. I have no idea what order guys are going to go in. Jeanty's awesome. He can run. He can catch. And if you don't think your O-line is equipped well enough to maximize a badass running back, go sign a guy. Sign 2 guys. Don't just give the Cowboys a pass. Go make your line good. Stop being the Cowboys. Stop being a team that refuses to get better like a bunch of jerks. Have you watched? Somebody just says, Ecuador, man. Thank you for that question. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but it's Wanye Thomas's brother. He's a cornerback at Florida State. I just watched him. He's the very last person I watched before I hit go live. Love him. Love him. Yeah, I haven't been able to super chat and chant for. I wonder why. Why can some people do it and some people can't? I probably need to, whatever service I use to stream probably needs me to give them more money to let me have all my features. If Shotty becomes head coach, let's draft Banks at 12, one of the Ohio State running backs later in the draft. If Kellen's head coach, we got to get Jeanty or Burden and go crazy. I don't know. What's the difference between the coaches? I just want to pick the best players. Positional value is terrible. Can't justify a running back. I can. The reason that I can justify a running back is because it's all about everything. Bijan Robinson went 8th. He was probably one of the 2 or 3 best players in his draft. If you find a guy after him that was drafted that plays a more important position that is an absolute stud, then sure, you could make the case you should have picked him. But what also happens in the draft is people take guys who aren't premier prospects because they play that position, and then they turn out to be wrong. Right before Bijan Robinson was picked, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech got picked because he plays edge, and they thought that he was a nice prospect. So instead of picking a guy who was absolutely a stud at what he does, they picked a guy because of the position he played. Bijan's been a way better pick. Way better. Who do you like from the Natty, from the national championship? Ohio State's going to have like 15 guys drafted. The guy who was playing left tackle for them has been their left guard for 2.5 years. He's a really good player. I would take him probably as more of a second round guy. But their actual left tackle who got hurt, I would love to take in the first round. He has a knee injury. The guy who replaced him was their left guard. His first game at left tackle was against Abdul Carter, and he got destroyed. And since then, he's figured out how to play tackle, and he's played it really, really well to the point that I'm sure a lot of NFL teams are going to be like, maybe he could play tackle in the NFL. So all of the names that the Dallas Cowboys could pick at 12. Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham, Kelvin Banks Jr., Ashton Jeanty, Will Johnson, Michigan corner. And he is one of those guys that his tape is fine. It's good. It doesn't totally blow me away, but what blows you away is that he's like 6. I'm guessing he's like 6'1", 6'1.5". He's listed at 6'2". He's over 200 pounds. And the way that he moves while playing corner is not fair. Like, he has high football IQ. He knows what he's doing. And he has the perfect build for a 2025 NFL cornerback. His movement skills combined with how he is put together, all of those things scream elite corner prospect. And he has a bunch of ball production over his career. He's got the ball a bunch of interceptions. So Will Johnson I really like, don't love enough to say elite prospect. Tet McMillan, Arizona receiver. Most years I would not have him as my 7th best prospect in a draft. What helps him a little bit is the position he plays for me. Because if you play X receiver, the outside guy, the big receiver, I like big receivers who actually have good feet. And he's a good route runner for that size. He's got the wingspan of a pterodactyl. He can pluck it anywhere. I have things I don't love about him as a prospect. I don't think, for as big as he is, that he wins physically up high or at the line of scrimmage or in routes like you'd like to see with that big of a guy. But he can catch it anywhere outside of him. He's better after the catch than you would expect for a guy that size. Maybe he's T. Higgins. Cowboys could pick him at number 12 if he's available. My guess is he's not, because it seems pretty universal that he's the top wide receiver. Next guy, Bobby was saying Wanya's brother is super high character too, like could wear a captain patch. You can see that on tape. Corners are funny because I can tell their football character on tape. Are you interested in tackling? His answer is yes. Are you interested in the physical part of the game, trying to blow up a screen, etc.? His answer is yes. The corner I watched right before him, my answer was no. And I was just like, oh, there's a guy that's not terribly interested in doing all of the things that we would ask of him. He just wants to cover people. Thank you, Luke. That's a hero right there. Auto like and comment for the algorithm. That's what we're looking for. Just fire things off in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 guys that we would take for the Cowboys at number 12. Number 8 is Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker is probably one of my 3 favorite guys on tape at Georgia. But as we are dissecting all of these different guys, his thing is there's a little bit of a tweener to him. He's a linebacker, but he's an edge rusher. If he's an edge rusher, he's not long-armed. He's a little undersized. Probably not great against the run. If he's a linebacker, well, then he plays off-ball linebacker. And I wouldn't pick that super high. So he lives in Tweenerville, but man, I love his tape. Like, he would be a big off-ball linebacker, definitely in terms of weight. I don't know about in terms of height. What is he, like 6'2"? Walker. Jalen Walker, 6'2", 245. Yeah, so he would be not a super tall linebacker, average height, but he'd be a heavy linebacker, and my God, is he strong. And when he is coming down and rushing the quarterback, he is an absolute problem, whether he's turning the corner or going through your chest. I love him. He's just kind of tweener size and roll. Why did PFF drop Jalen Walker down the board so far this week? I don't know, and I'm not going to ask, but here's the thing, and here's what you got to be careful of with your draft stuff. It's groupthink, at least to an extent, for a lot of people. Because I have to start somewhere, and so I use people's lists, and that's where I start. And if I massively disagree with where someone is, and I talk about it and tweet about it and things like that, I've watched them move on other people's lists. So just know that some people aren't telling you exactly what they think. They're protecting themselves from being wrong by looking at other people's stuff. Yeah, they had some gigantic movers when they updated. Like my guy Mike Green at Marshall. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they saw or heard that he's not going to get drafted as high as somebody thinks or whatever. I don't care. I'm just putting the guys in the order. With y'all talking draft so much, y'all don't feel like talking this much about, and you hit enter.
My name is Jeff.
Seen Walker around 2 a lot the last few. Boy, you get me Jalen Walker in the second round, I'll lose my mind. So I've got him at number 8. At number 9, I got Will Campbell, the LSU offensive tackle. I like Banks a little bit better because I think Banks has more of the uncoil through your hips, throw an MFer out of the way when it comes to the run game. But Will Campbell is just like a big old grip strengthen, turning, mauling son of a biscuit, and I like him a lot too. And I like Simmons, the Ohio State offensive tackle. We just got to check on his knee. Like, my confidence level in trying to separate those 3 is not the highest. I can tell you what's different about them, but predicting the future becomes hard. But I do think it's easy to separate those 3 from the rest of the offensive linemen in the class, which is why I think they're the only 3 that should matter for the Cowboys at number 12. Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell at LSU, Simmons at Ohio State. And we're good there. Malachi Starks, Georgia safety, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's my 11th player. And he's got the Will Johnson thing to him. Played at a big school, played early, played really well early. So he's a young prospect that is literally built in a lab to do what he does. He can play deep safety. He can play down safety. He can play man coverage in the slot. He can do everything. And his tape is good, not holy shit. But he has all of the tools to be an absolute monster. And that's how a safety gets to 11th on my board. 12 and 13 are Luther Burden at Missouri and Emeka Ibuka at Ohio State, both wide receiver. Burden is Debo-ish, but probably, what did Debo run in the 40? Because I think of him as being slow, but that's not true, is it? Debo Samuel, combine. Debo Samuel. Ran a 4.48. Okay. So he may not be faster. He may be. But he's Debo-ish, but probably a better separator and route runner and not quite as much of the full Debo things of just destroying everybody with Starks is so overrated. Watts is way better. I'm not making an accusation here, Mr. Roman Wolf Gaming. I'm just asking a question. Are you a Notre Dame fan by chance? It's just a question. Not making an accusation. I'm just asking. Yeah, Burden's super fun with the ball in his hands. I do think there is some risk to the pick. I don't think he's like a great route running separator. I think that he is a little bit somewhat reliant on you finding the ways to use him. And then my guy, Mykel Williams, is Hines Ward. He'll block everybody. He'll run every slant and out route. He'll catch them all. He'll do whatever dirty work you ask. He'll wear a captain's thing on his chest. He'll be your second or third offensive option for 10 years. It's not often that I put a complimentary wide receiver as a first-round grade, but I feel so comfortable with Ibuka. That's where I am with him. No, I'm the Ohio State. Oh, interesting. Well, then why aren't you fighting for Ransom? Isn't that his name? Lathan Ransom. Cliff to the boys and Anthony Lynn. Oh, you can't type it in all caps. That makes me think that it's happened. Where would you take Judkins? I don't know. If I take Judkins, the Ohio State running back, I want to take Travion Henderson with him. Like, they are perfect complements. He's the bang bang and Henderson's the zoom zoom. So while I'm jeffing around, pick one of them in the second, one of them in the third, and that's your backfield. And I've flipped them more times than I can count, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You could take one of them in the second. I would rather just wait until the third. That's the thing about running back. There are just, I've only seen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, but 7 of them I'm comfortable in the third round making them the pick. And that's what makes the Jeanty thing hard. I'm like, man, I think I can get your job done in the third round confidently. How many starters are you confident you're pulling a starter out of the third round, fourth round? Doesn't happen at many positions. I can do it at running back, but I do love me some Jeanty. I sure do. How far back does Dallas need to trade back to get a second, fourth, or second, third? You think that is more realistic than trying to recoup via free agency? If you wanted to, well, we'll do questions here in a second. Let me finish this off. Every name that the Cowboys should consider with the 12th overall pick. Mykel Williams, Georgia, is my next guy. He could absolutely be a top 5 pick. He could absolutely be the 23rd pick. I have no idea. But he's the built-in-a-lab defensive end that doesn't have the production to go with the way that he's put together. But when it is put together, holy crap. It's like 6'5", 265, strong like bull, athletic, has everything. And when it's put together, holy crap. Also, Mike Green, Marshall, temporarily as a first-round guy for me. We got to pay attention to the Senior Bowl because Mike Green is a smaller pass rusher at Marshall, and he just destroys everyone, and he's stronger than he should be at that size, and he's super athletic, and his motor runs hot. He has everything. I just haven't seen him play against anybody who's going to play in the NFL. I had to ask because I watched him against Ohio State, and you would think, well, if you can do something against Ohio State, and he destroyed Ohio State's right tackle. So I fired off a text. Hey, is Ohio State's right tackle going to be an NFL player? And the answer was absolutely not. Not only is he not going to be an NFL player, he won't be a preferred free agent. So I haven't seen what Mike Green looks like against NFL guys. And so the Senior Bowl will matter for him, but for now he's a first rounder. And then Jahdae Barron, the Texas corner, I have kind of on the edge there. I need to change, if you're on my sheet, I need to change the color that I have there. He needs to be light blue. He's a cheater grade. First, second round cheater grade is what I'm doing with Jahdae Barron. And with Jahad Campbell, the Alabama linebacker / pass rusher, he's the same thing, cheater grade. And then the guys that I have right below them would be Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle at Ole Miss. He's another guy that doesn't always put it together, but man, when he does, that looks like a dominant 3-tech. And then you got James Pierce, the Tennessee pass rusher. Is there anybody else that's notably at the top of my second round? See, to me, that's all the names you need. Anything else, and I'll be like, oh man, what you doing? That's all the names I need for the first round is all of those. And technically, if I get to make the pick, you'll probably have 2 quarterbacks gone. So I only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which means that I would cut off and have 3 offensive linemen on my list: Banks, Campbell, Simmons, Carter, Hunter, Graham. They're going to be gone probably. Jeanty, Will Johnson, Tet McMillan, Jalen Walker. That's it. I don't have to go down to Malachi Starks or Burden or Ibuka or Mykel Williams or Mike Green or any of those guys. I only need 10 names because I'm picking 12th and 2 quarterbacks are going to go, which is why I could see them finding themselves in a place where they have to ask themselves, are we going to do what we always do, which is assume that our guys are going to get better, and as a second-year player, Tyler Guyton's going to be able to be our left tackle? Or are we open to the idea of being better at that spot, giving him a chance to go steal Steele's job, make him a June 1 cut? Are you open to that idea, or are you dug in on the Cowboy way of not admitting a mistake and just seeing it through for another year? And if he gets better, awesome. And if he doesn't, then we'll just get to the end of the year when they fail miserably and Jerry will be like, well, I guess we were out over our skis a little bit. I'm not afraid to take a left tackle with the first pick that the Cowboys have, because I think there's 3 guys that qualify for that pick in this draft. And I think at least one of them will be available and maybe your top rated player when you get on the clock. Jeff, I heard you don't like Cam. Is that true? I don't love Cam Scatterbo. I put him as a 4th round guy. Watson Ransom was first super, and you said no, LOL. Wait, oh crap. What did I say? What did I actually? Don't hold me accountable for things I say. I never remember what I say. Watson Ransom. Oh, I don't want them in the first round. No. Watson the second? Probably. I just started watching him. I haven't watched enough to have a fun opinion. And Ransom, I don't know yet. I haven't watched him yet. I have a feeling BJ going to take Jeanty at 10. What's BJ? Oh, let me answer your value chart question. If you trade down from 12, if you want to get back their 1, a 2, and a 3, let's see, what would happen at 20? Around the answer would be, this one's a little bit outdated, but it'll be close enough. 500, 22, 23. In theory, you could get their 1, their 2, and their 3. But that is in theory. What about Walker from Kentucky? Deion Walker, is that a cheater grade? No. Wait, where? Hold on, let me see. You got me thinking about my own board. Walker. No, I don't have a cheater grade on. That's Jalen Walker. Deion Walker is in the 2nd round. He weirds me out because I just don't think he knows what he's doing yet. I think that he's fun because he's 340 pounds and he moves really, really well. And that's a really good starting point, but he plays up high and I don't think he knows what he's doing yet. And so there's some risk there. No, they'd never consider, but why did Chip Kelly get no NFL love? First season Foles, 4th in points per game. I don't know. Maybe he looks funny. Wasn't he a visor guy too? Chip always weirded me out a little bit. He's definitely he was great this year. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate, what was I just talking about? What wouldn't I hate? Oh, any kind of offensive mind that I think can give me some sort of an advantage on a Sunday, I'll take it. Where do you see Tyler Warren going? We need a stud tight end. I can see Tyler Warren and or Loveland, the Michigan tight end. I could see either one of them going in the. I could see it in the top 15 because again, in this draft, In a lot of drafts, I couldn't. In this one, I could. I could also see both of them making it and no tight end going until the mid to late 20s. But I see a world where one of them goes somewhere between like 12 and 15 or 16. I could see it. They're different players, and I don't ranking them is basically you tell me what you want him to do. I don't have a definitive, this guy is better than that guy. Penn State man is the bigger Gronky type dude, and the Michigan tight end is really more of a gigantic wide receiver. He doesn't even play in line very often, and when he does, he can't block a lick. Penn State guy doesn't block well either, but it's probably in there. He probably has a better chance to become a blocker than Michigan man. Michigan man is really a 6'5", 240-pound, gigantic power slot. That's what I think. 22-24 pick for a second and possible third sounds like some fun, Jerry. I would love to have some fun. I'd love to have some fun. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, was the idea that this team has to be wide open to taking whatever. You can take the best player on your board. There's nothing off limits for help. I mean, technically, if you wanted to, you could take a quarterback. If like only one went and you liked the next one, you could. He's not going to play. But I mean, quarterback, if you doubt Dak's health and you don't think you'll have a better opportunity in the next year or two to find a guy, screw it. Quarterback's so important. Go ahead. But you got to be open. You got to be open to whatever if you're the Cowboys. Who is the best player available? If it's Ashton Jeanty, take him. If it's one of the first-round offensive linemen, take him. I don't care about Tyler Guyton. I can't. If you win a job at right tackle, so be it. Hey, if you show up and you win the job at left tackle, so be it, especially if it's Kelvin Banks out of Texas, because I'll just plop his ass right to right guard, and he'll go to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. And that'll be fun. They need D-tackle help so bad, and I can already tell that it's a really good year for it, but I don't like it at 12 at all. Once Mason Graham's gone, I do not like a D-tackle at 12 at all. In the 20s, in a trade-down scenario, sure. I think there's a bunch of options. I think the Ole Miss guy, Nolan, is an option in the 20s. You could go Grant, the other Michigan defensive tackle. You could go Mykel Williams, the Ohio State nose tackle. You could go Derek Harmon, the Oregon defensive tackle. I think all four of those guys are an option between 20-something and 50, but not at 12. So if captain trade down we're going to ride this year, then I think captain trade down would most likely be picking a corner or a D tackle. And that lines up great. Take Jahdae Barron, the Texas corner, at 24. Take Ravel, the East Carolina corner, at 24. Or do a double dip where you're taking Nolan, the Ole Miss D tackle. Freak show. It's not consistent, but when I tell you them traits are high end, I mean them traits are high end. Take him in the 20s and then turn around in the second where now you got 2 picks and find yourself a corner. And hell, you can go running back that early if you want. Go get me Omarion Hampton, North Carolina. 3rd round, get me Harvey out of UCF. Let's have fun. Will you get drunk during the draft? I don't know. It depends on what I have to do during the draft. I would imagine I'll be doing a show of some sort. I would imagine. Whether it's on here, whether it's for DLLS. I imagine that's a day that a lot of people will be tuned in, so I should probably be doing something. Don't draft no Michigan. We can't take Michigan out just because they're Michigan. Jordan Lewis is wonderful. Can't take them out just because they're Michigan. The Cowboys made 2 bad picks. That's what happened. Those 2 picks should have been TJ Watt and Nolan Smith. And you'd have so many 240 to 250 pound pass rushers. But that's who they should have been. Don't let the Cowboys' mistakes make you hate a helmet. Are we going to get a Jeff crossover with Vach and Broadus? Oh, for sure, for sure. I know they're doing a show tonight. I talked to Vach earlier, and I was like, I don't want to jam up y'all's show. So I was trying to set something up with Vod. She's like, I don't want to jam up your show. He's like, no, just come on. Just let me know. You can come on. And I was like, I don't want to jam up your show. We'll see. We'll see. If not, I'll just be watching. I'll be lurking. Okay, that's all I got. I just want to make sure we had all the names lined up. People, you can go in the comments and find my board, my stack, all my different things. Have yourself some fun. We get drunk after the draft, party at Jeff's. I'm tired of feeling like crap in the mornings. So I get drunk less than I did, but it doesn't mean I don't. Doesn't mean I don't. Jade, Green, and Grant, I think, are gone by 24. I have no idea if that's all three could be there. That's the thing. Like, there are people whose rankings are going to tell you that Mike, Green, Jade, Barron, and what's Grant, the D tackle at Michigan's first name? There's going to be people who are going to have it ranked where they'll all absolutely be gone. And there's going to be people who will have it ranked that none of them will be gone. And so that's where I run out of the this guy won't be there. I'll only play that game so far. And I'm not comfortable saying that Jade Barron won't be there at 24 or Mike Green won't be there at 24 or whoever. How about bringing Foots on also? Of course, I love Foots. I'll bring on Sky also. All of them. All of them. Where's the link to your draft board? I'll send it again. Boop. 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 It's coming in the messages. Bam, it's in the chat. If Cowboys were to reach for a player at 12, who would it be? It's a great question. If they were going to reach for a player, a D tackle? The second defensive tackle off the board? Nick Scorton, a jumbo-sized edge out of Texas A&M? This would be a reach. Tight end? Would they do that to Ferg? I don't know. Surely not a non-Jeanty running back. You want a nose or a three tech? Best player. Best player. So in order, the D tackle I want for the Cowboys is Ole Miss. Nolan, I believe he's a three tech. Grant at Michigan, I believe he's a one tech. Williams at Ohio State, I believe he's a one tech. Harmon at Oregon, I believe he's a three tech. Walker at Kentucky, I believe he's a one tech. That is my order for how I wanted to pick D tackles in the second round, but I'm not done because there's a lot more D tackles to watch, and I'm going to go get to it right now because I'm starting to get up there, and it's fun. I know more guys now. I'm getting there, baby. I'm getting there, baby. Would 15 be too high for Green? Today, I say no. Ask me after the Senior Bowl because I want to see what he does against guys who are going to play in the NFL because I've never seen him play against anybody who's going to play in the NFL yet. Does your family support your Cowboys fandom? My family couldn't care less about sports, but they do support me because my family is awesome and they're the best. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. So be cool to everyone. I love you. Be easy. Oh, wait, let's do a little hot dog or bun before we get out of here. This is a hot dog bun.
Now this is a hot dog bun.
I think it's a hot dog, too.
Those are the guys that run the organization that we want to see do well.
Now this is a hot dog bun.
I think it's a hot dog, too.
Whoopsie. All right. Whatever you guys do, just definitely stay Jeffin around.